All right, good evening, everyone. Last week, Teacher Staff Appreciation Week was celebrated with tokens of appreciation shared with our staff. We got car sunshades with the district logo, and I thought they were up here. Do you have them? Okay. And these are provided for members tonight. So the administrators, PTA groups, student councils also provided breakfast and lunches, handwritten notes and cards, gift certificates for teachers. Members have a couple other things at their seats, and so it was a nice tribute to everybody who works in the district. At your seat, you also have a geode. That's from the Kids at Hope Masters Institute, where I served on a panel, and we heard some compelling stories of youngsters overcoming tremendous challenges. The geode is to remind us all that while very ordinary on the outside, sometimes it conceals something fantastically beautiful on the inside. So we're treasure hunters here in Littleton. The week-long professional development series featured our own Littleton Elementary School and all of the strengths-based work done by Mr. Whiteman and his staff. Congratulations to them. As one of the model campuses that had educators from all over the country come to visit it. The other is last year's annual report from ASU Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College. Those were distributed at the Westside Impact Teacher of the Year recognition last week. A copy of the program is inserted in your book in an important place next to page 12. When you look at page 12, you'll see why. The teachers will be introduced in a little bit, and they enjoyed a really nice event. Got to hear from the Arizona Education Foundation Teacher of the Year, and so that was really appreciated by everybody. Now, since we met last, the teachers and students had an opportunity to enjoy their spring break, hopefully relax and reconnect with their families. Well, most of them anyway, because some of the teachers and the administrative team members were here working over break in a Beyond Textbook seminar that you're going to hear more about later this evening. Our classrooms were preoccupied with the Ames test just before break. And as you know, stakes are very high for student performance on the Ames. We pulled together some statistics. About 38,600 student hours were committed to taking over 28,000 tests with just over 750,000 items, just in our little district. We are very proud of how hard everyone worked, and all of those thousands of tests, we only had one incident where some sections couldn't be used, so we think we had pretty good procedures in place. Just after break, many of our students attended the ASU I Teach graduation ceremony at La Jolla Community High School for student teachers that have been with us all year. I think it was a heartwarming and proud moment for the graduates, their supervising teachers on our staff, as well as our students. And all the classes put together some tributes to their student teachers. And we knew we couldn't get all of them into the board meeting, but if it's all right with you, Madam President, I'd like to a short 5-minute montage of some of the highlights for everyone, if we can take the time.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I just want to clarify for the audience, in case you're from the southern part of the state, that wasn't a gang sign. That's ASU right there. All right. So, as Ms. Nielsen mentioned, last month, she, Ms. Kinder, and myself attended the Westmark West Valley Economic Summit. Heard a lot of interesting information on economic recovery in our state and region. There were 2 informative panels, one made up of investment groups with some pretty hard economic numbers. Sandy touched on some of those. The other made up of organizations like the Maricopa Association of Governments, Greater Phoenix Economic Council. We learned, if you hadn't heard this already, it was the first recession in the state's history where Arizona did not recover faster than the United States, due in large part to slowed population growth. Now, the West Valley population is up about 1.5 million, more than tripled in 20 years. And that could reach 2.8 million in the next 20 years. Housing permits seem to bottom out in 2010-11, so they're back on the way up, not quite to their all-time high in 2005-2006. There's 2 milestones in history of American education converging this spring. The second, reshaping the legacy of the first. The first landmark moment arrives this Thursday. with the 60th anniversary of the Supreme Court's Brown versus Board of Education decision making separate but equal segregation in public schools illegal. The second watershed will follow in June, when the completion with the completion of the last school year, where the majority of Americans' K-12 public school students are white. The board heard in a previous meeting, Arizona crossed that threshold in 2003-2004. But as of this year, the whole country. As you probably know, the fiscal year 15 budget passed and was signed by the governor with a few line item vetoes related to K-12. Inflation was set at just 1.4%, and the cuts to capital funding continued for another year. A small amount of money was added for performance funding, but we have no idea yet what that'll be until AIM student growth is calculated by the Department of Education. Opposing parties made their case in the Cave Creek versus Ducey argument recently. Just the other day, in fact, the board's attorney, Don Peters, was asking the state to pay back schools for years of unfunded inflation. State Treasurer Doug Ducey says it would ravage the state budget. Schools contend that the state has banked more than $1.2 billion they'd rather spend on tax cuts than on schools. So Littleton has offered to help with some parents who can comment on the things that have had to be cut in our school district. And to keep our core programs up and running, you might watch for that in the news. We're going to try to help with some of that story. Several education bills made it out of the legislature in the final days of session, including expansion of ESAs, that's Educational Savings Account. That's code for vouchers, public money for private schools with no accountability. The governor signed that. Also included were limits on purpose statements, factual information presented in a neutral manner in election materials, which we'll discuss later tonight, and limiting advocacy for voter expenditures to pro-arguments, which has always been the case with the Littleton Governing Board. There's also been some changes to how property values are shown. They legislated a whole series of new reports school districts need to make annually about our building systems and equipment, so we have more work to do next year in administration for the state. Arizona Department of Education officials submitted the formal application for Arizona to the U.S. Department of Education for a No Child Left Behind waiver recently, and that is using a new 15% weight given to graduation rates in Arizona's high school rankings. But we learned that the State Board of Education was considering changing the AZ Learn points for high schools. And we were concerned because if they start re-averaging those points every year, that would impact all of us. So I was asked to speak to this point, the State Board of Education Accountability Subcommittee yesterday on behalf of our state associations, and I was working with ADE staff today on some alternatives. But this accountability thing continues to be a moving target. Now, I do have some more good news to report this evening. We're proud to report Ms. Turpin, 7th grade teacher at Collier Elementary, was accepted into a 5-week seminar for teachers sponsored by the National Endowment for Humanities this summer in Berlin. She's chosen as one of 16 teachers from the U.S. to participate in the program. The overall goals of NEH programs are to provide models of excellent teaching and to focus on important topics, texts, and questions in the humanities. Ms. Maria Moreno, also from Collier, was recognized by the Rodell Foundation for being one of the teachers to have all their students complete their macro activities. The reason this practice is stressed by the foundation is that developing mathematical competence opens doors to career choices and productive futures for our kids. The Rodell Foundation believes teachers and what they do in the classroom are at the heart of producing college and career-ready students. Westside Impact Regional Math Challenge events took place at Pendergast Learning Center over the last couple weeks. 10 different school districts were represented and competed in a 2-part math challenge. Each team worked through 4 rigorous problem-solving tasks, 30 math trivia questions. The country place 3rd and 4th grade team took 4th place overall for the day. Students worked diligently as a team, represented Littleton with pride. Congratulations to them and to Miss Miller and Miss Biddle for supporting those students. The 5th and 6th grade team from Estrella Vista started off strong, beginning the first team to finish the problem-solving section. Got all 4 questions correct. They battled through the trivia section neck and neck with 2 other teams. They ended up the day triumphantly taking 2nd place overall. That was good. Congratulations to Miss Edwards, her amazing team from Estrella Vista. And then the 7th and 8th grade team from Littleton came in 7th overall. A well-earned thank you goes out to Mr. Chavez for leading their team. At the Westside Impact Science and Engineering Fair held last week, our congratulations go out to Nadia Linares, I hope I said that right, an 8th grader at Littleton, for earning first place. I think that was in the Science Research Division. So then Alonda Lopez and Kimberly Wells, also 8th graders at Littleton, and Rika Garcia, 7th grade at Collier, earned second place honors in the science research. An honorable mention also went to Leah Davenport, an 8th grader at Quinton. So we did pretty good. I want to remind everybody that this year that the 8th annual Littleton District Art Show begins May 15th with a reception on Tuesday, May 20th from 5 to 7 at the Avondale Civic Library. In addition to displaying student artwork, as a result of our partnership with the Westside Arts Council, we'll have 3 artist demonstrations demonstrating techniques and engaging the community. The annual music festival, superintendent's concert, will be held at La Jolla Performing Arts Center on Saturday, May 31st. That's always fantastic. That's at 4 p.m. Mark your calendars. The baseball and softball seasons are halfway over. Teams are improving with every game, and the play is making for some really competitive contests. Probably better than a Diamondbacks game right now at home. The Estrella Vista baseball team and Tres Rios softball team are the only teams still undefeated. But other schools are nipping at their coattails, so we encourage everybody to get out and see those games. I'd like to close by expressing a special thanks to Wells Fargo for funds for our Littleton students, and that's all I have this evening.